to Africa. Good Sunday, good evening, good afternoon, wherever you are, depending on where you are and when you are watching. I'm your co-host, Ambassador Lisa, and welcome to Africa Online TV. Today, violence is on the rise like never before, especially domestic violence. I don't know about any other city, but in Philadelphia, we have had over 400 murders so far this year. In the last 3 weeks, I have heard of 3 couples where the husband has wife, then turned the gun on himself. In one of these cases, the husband killed his wife and then himself in front of their 10-year-old daughter. How did it become so easy for us to turn the gun on those that we love, including ourselves? Then there's the trauma that's left with the surviving family members. Why do we pick up guns and participate in the genocide of our own selves? Today, we have 2 ambassadors from WULMI's Leadership and Women's Affairs Department in conjunction with the United Nations who will discuss the upcoming conference, Stop the Roller Coaster, Overcoming Gender-Based Violence, along with other guests. Welcome. And now for our editorial, my co-host, Nia-san.
Good afternoon, good evening, good day. Greetings to all of us, to all of you, and welcome to Africa Online Media Corporation. November 14 is the 318th day of the year, leaving us with Ambassador Lisa just 47 days, not leaving us with Ambassador Lisa, but leaving us with 47 days until the end of the year 2021. Which of the following did you do today or this week? Did you wear a seat belt? Wear what? A seat belt, yes. Well, okay. If you did not wear a seat belt, especially today, remember that today is National Seat Belt Day. So go out and make sure you wear one before you drive that car, or you will be stopped. Click or be stopped and arrested. Did you check or control your blood sugar level today? Health, what? Well, health is wealth, they tell us. And if you did not check your blood pressure today or blood sugar level today, then you're certainly going to find yourself in trouble, because today again is one of those days, is check your blood sugar day. So it is a national check your blood sugar level day. So if you didn't do that, please, after this program, go do it. Centuries ago, talk was generally just about man or woman. With time, education, and other social changes, today we hear talk of gender, we hear talk of gender in reference to sexual groups in humans. Talk of gender equality has become common parlance. With gender equality, we hear talk of gender violence. It's no more sex violence. Did our ancestors have more cordial and friendly relations with their partners and or with the opposite sex or gender, as it is more convenient to say these days? They don't say sex anymore, they say gender, because people get jitters when they say sex. I don't know why. Violence seems to be a new norm in society these days, and violence against the opposite sex or the opposite gender seems to have become more prevalent. Why? Those are the questions we'll be asking ourselves, all the why questions. The question quickly comes to mind, but why? What are the triggers of such violence? How can we overcome gender-based violence? Join Africa Online this afternoon and let us unravel what it's all about, talk about it, share the information, raise the awareness, and of course, be able to educate each other on what is going on in our lives. In that his famous poem, Desiderata, Max Ehrmann concludes this way: with all its sham and drudgery and broken dreams, it is still a beautiful world. Be cheerful, strive to be happy. So gender violence or sex violence or whatever violence, please strive to be cheerful. Don't let the tears keep flowing, because you need to be who you are, and don't let what people tell you define you. Be who you are, accept who you are, live your life And of course, we know that the wounds or the scars of violence never really go away. But whatever it is, we are going to have the people on this panel this afternoon discuss it, tell us more about it, and let us move forward together to see how we can educate ourselves better to end it, to stop it, and to make sure that we live our lives the way we were created to live them. I will go over to Texas so the chair of Africa Online Media Corporation, Reverend Pam, can welcome all of us to the show. Reverend Pam.
Happy Sunday, everybody. Ni a song. Don't ever miss this show again. The last 2 weeks, Ambassador Lisa and I really felt lonely without you. And Ambassador Lisa, I thought you said you were bringing some brothers. Where are the brothers? Where
I
our
tried. I sent the message out to the brothers that we needed to have them here, but they're not
Yeah,
here.
so are you blessed or what? You know how many men will give anything just to be in your shoes? Anyway, I would like to our guests to turn on their cameras so our viewers can get to meet them and so we can put their names to the faces. But on behalf of Africa Online Media Corporation, I would love to welcome all our guests. Ambassador Joseph was first on. Ambassador Gracey is part of this show, looking beautiful in her black and white. All our
Yes, yes.
black women rock, black ladies rock. Sister Robin Evans, hopefully we'll see you shortly. Dr. Debbie Olusa, looking beautiful. Want to see you live, not your picture. There she goes. There goes Dr. Olusa. And there's Victor's iPhone. Hopefully that's a brother. We would like to see your face. And there's Connie Patterson and of course, Sister Ruth Presley. And my beautiful and faithful sister, Ambassador Lisa. You're all welcome to the show. And to our viewers, this violence, gender-based violence things is something that is so prevalent. It's become endemic during this pandemic. We've had at least 2 shows about it. I mean, every year we talk about domestic violence. We just frame it a little bit different, gender-based violence, because actually when we talk about domestic violence, we usually do a sequel. One against women, and children, the other one against men. But I am very expectant. I'm ready to learn about your conference and to see what new perspectives our guests today are going to take on this topic. Our prayer is that lives will be saved and somebody who is contemplating committing, I don't really want to proclaim it or pronounce it, committing, know what we're talking about, that they will listen to this show and they will think twice and maybe seek the face of God instead of seeking a gun or a weapon. And some people, their hands are weapons. They can kill somebody with their hands, So anyway, and in some cases, their knees. We saw how our brother was killed with a knee. So body parts are weapons also. So I also want to thank, our sister. It says Victor's iPhone. If you can just put your name on the chat box, I will rename you. Thank you so much for turning on your camera. Just put your name on the chat box.
Hi, I think I already did when I said hello to everyone.
Yes.
Hello,
Okay.
so glad to be here.
I will rename you so that everybody knows who is speaking. So once more, welcome to the program, and I'll hand over to Ambassador Lisa.
Again, thank you, Reverend Pam. Back up here in Philly, where it's a little chilly today. She said it's hot down in Texas. It's a little chilly in Philadelphia today. We, again, want to welcome all of our guests today. And I want to extend a special welcome to Her Excellency, Reverend Dr. Burnley, who is the president and the chairperson in charge of the Leadership and Women's Affairs Department for WULMI, for which all of us are a part of. So we're here to talk about the upcoming conference and to also talk about ending gender-based violence. And today our guest will be Her Excellency Ambassador Apostle Lecent Joseph and Her Excellency Ambassador Apostle Angela Gracey, who is already a part of Africa Online. We just adopted her. So I want to welcome you ladies, and we're going to turn the mic over to you and let you start talking and sharing not only about the conference, but what it is that we're doing. I'm tired of talking. Let me just say, I'm tired of talking and talking and talking about these things. How do we begin to see a change? And Pastor Angela.
So sorry, I forgot to unmute myself. Good evening, everybody. Well, first, let me just extend my heartfelt apologies to Reverend Pam for leaving her stranded last week. I'm so sorry, but I meant to be on this week, but I had another engagement. But suffice it to say, as being a part of the family, we will not abandon the family again. Amen.
Amen.
Amen. So, I just wanted to just say a little bit about who we are and what we're doing. As Ambassador Lisa said, we are part of the Leadership and Women's Affairs Department, which is a department under WOMI. WOMI stands for Word of Life Ministries International, and WOMI is an NGO and one of many NGOs that has special consultative status with the United Nations. And so they are also consultative status with the United Nations under the Economic and Social Council. Amen. And so the mission of our department, the mission of the Leadership and Women's Development Department is to raise awareness of women's issues, to empower women around the world, and lead women to success on a global scale. So that's who we are. And that's who has appointed us as UN Peace Ambassadors. And I'm here with my colleague today, both of my colleagues, because Her Excellency Ambassador Bokwe is the head of our department. Amen. And so she's here with us, and also my colleague, Her Excellency Ambassador Apostle Lecent Josephs. And so she and I are working together on this conference. And so we've pulled together a conference. The name of our conference is called Stop the Roller Coaster, Overcoming Gender-Based Violence. And our goal, of course, is to raise awareness on this issue. We want to talk about it. Our goal is to bring awareness, to offer preventative strategies, to raise awareness, preventative strategies, and provide solutions. So I'm going to turn it over to Ambassador Lecent. She's going to share a little bit more and kind of kick off our discussion and with some statistics about gender-based violence. We know that it's more prevalent. And let me just say before we go to her that I think the reason that this issue has become front and center in this hour is because, as you know, during the pandemic, many of us have been kept in close quarters, right? We've all been home for the last 2 years. And a lot of women, we understand, and Ambassador Joseph is going to share a little bit with you about that, but most women are accosted or assaulted by people who are close to them, their intimate partners, the people they live with. And so we see in this last couple of years, many women have been kept in close quarters in their homes with the very people who prey upon them. Amen. And so it's always been an issue, but it's even more of an issue now. And we see that it is pervasive. It's not just on a domestic level. It's in many levels. And so let me stop because I don't want to give away the thunder. But suffice it to say, we're all kind of passionate about this topic. Amen. So Ambassador Lecent, my colleague, you have the floor.
Thank you, Ambassador Gracey. Thank you, Reverend Pam and Prophetess Lisa and Africa Online for inviting us to come and talk a little bit about this and shed some light on it so that individuals who are out there can get some help. I'm not sure, I think it was Reverend Pam or Reverend Lisa had said that, you know, she's tired of talking. And yes, we're all tired of talking. So the aim of this conference is to give some preventative methods, some research, some resources for individuals who are facing such a violent act. So to get us into a bit of discussion, I'm going to go to a little bit of stats. Now, these numbers are, for me, I think they're very shocking to say the least. So worldwide, it is said, violence against women is a global travesty. And so in 2018, there was an analysis done across 161 countries and areas. And this was conducted by the WHO on behalf of UN. And what it says is that nearly 1 in 3, otherwise 30% of women have been subjected to physical and or sexual violence by their intimate partner, as Ambassador Gracey was saying. And this can be by their intimate partner or not their intimate partner. It continues to say in this stats that every day 137 women are being killed by a member of their family, and typically by their intimate partner. Now, 15, I want you to try to figure this out. 15 million adolescent girls worldwide, and the ages are 15 to 19 years old, have experienced forceful sex.
Mm-hmm.
And I find this to be very, 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 very alarming. And this is according to the stats, right? I noticed that in some areas, individuals have this fallacy that gender-based violence, it's only happening in the third world country, but that's not the truth. You know, they may say majority of it is in a third world country, but no, gender-based violence / domestic violence, it's happening across the street from you. It's even happening in your family. It's happening at work. It's happening all over. And so what we're trying to do is to sound the alarm on this issue. So let me go back down some more. So according to the stats, again, I'm just doing the stats, adult women from that number that I just mentioned accounted for more than half of all human trafficking. This is detected globally. And at least 200 million girls and women have undergone female genital mutilation. Now, just imagine that for a second. Just imagine that for a second. Female genital mutilation. Over 200 million young women and girls between the age of 15 and 49 years old. Additionally, less than 40% of these people who experience these violence, they don't seek for help. They don't. And so today we're going to have a little bit of discussion as to what we can do. And so further to that report, it has shown that during the pandemic, which is COVID-19, that the spread of this act has escalated. Why? Because many of these women, they're not allowed to go out to work because, you know, pandemic, so you have to stay home. So now they're faced in a situation where 24/7 they're in the house with this individual. Before they will be able to go to work, they'll be able to go, you know, see a friend, they'll be able to spend more time outside. But now 100% of their time is in the home because of the pandemic. And so the arise of this pandemic, gender-based violence by itself is a pandemic within a pandemic of COVID-19.
Mm-hmm.
And so we're here to address these issues. So I want to ask a few questions. I'm going to throw it out and then we're going to take it away from there. So some of the questions that we need to ask, first of all, before we can discuss what is gender-based violence, we have to know what it is. Do we really know what is gender-based violence and what are some of the signs of gender-based violence? And one of my questions that came to me earlier before we came online is, why is it important for society and organization to consider policies to avert gender-based violence, not just at home or in the workplace, but in the community worldwide? Why is it important for us to develop policies to avert such a thing? So I'm going to hand it over back and we're going to get into some discussion. We're going to ask, first of all, what is gender equality? What is that? So I'm going to throw it out and we can get into some discussion from there. And then we come back around to get more information about the conference coming up. So what is gender equality? Anyone can ask, anyone can take over. Dr. Pam, Dr. Reverend Lisa.
Thank you so much, Ambassador. What is gender equality? It's us being equal. It's being treated as equals, being seen as equal. Now, granted, I don't want to do construction work. I don't want to sling an axe. I don't want to sling trash. I don't have to have equal pay. You know, I don't want to do the job that a man does. I want a man to be in his role, and I, as a woman, want to stay in my role. But at the same time, I do want to be treated. I'm not less than. God did not make me to be under anyone's foot. He made me to walk beside. So we walk together. That's gender equality to me. Prophetess Ruth, what do you say?
I say gender equality is recognizing the humanity in each person and respecting that humanity regardless of gender, race, nationality, religious beliefs. Gender equality is just recognizing and honoring the humanness in each person.
Thank you. Robin, I know you're there somewhere. I know that you're probably doing a lot of other things, but pop in and share what is gender equality to you?
Gender equality is recognizing that everybody has a purpose in this life that needs to be fulfilled. And no purpose is greater than another purpose. And we have to get to a point where we are supporting each other in our purpose and not holding people down because of their gender. But one thing that I thought about as we have this discussion is that women who are in abusive situations are often alienated from subgroups that they're around. They're alienated from family. They're alienated from friends. They're alienated from social activities. And they become the captive of the person that is abusing them. And so one of the things that I think that we could do is how do we strengthen the networks that women have access to, and we can do a greater job now because we now have online forums too, that allow them sort of the space to grow up in who they are and take back their humanity and their power, because nobody deserves to be abused.
Thank you. Thank you, Robin. Dr. Debbie, what say you? I know she was.
So I'm driving.
I was gonna say, I know you were driving.
But I do feel really strongly around this topic, and I won't be able to stay till the end, but I'm happy for the invitation from Robin. The definition for me is just simply the opportunity to be you without pause. And I think every human being deserves that right. And when it's negotiated in a negative way against women, we start having conversations that we're having now.
Thank you. Thank you. Apostle Esther Tabb.
She's muted. She's muted.
Oh, she's okay.
Muted.
She needs to unmute herself.
There she
Okay,
is.
yeah, I was trying to find another background. I'm sorry. Okay, I was offline for a minute because I was on my phone. I wanted to switch to my laptop.
What is gender equality? What do you say?
Well, gender equality, well, we know equality means to be equal, right? So that equal doesn't mean the same. Equal means in the sense of rights, in the sense of humanity. I like that one. God made us all equal. He didn't put anyone above anyone. He said, I would give you dominion. He spoke to the woman, he spoke to the man. He said, I would give you dominion over the earth. So he didn't put a man or a woman over the man or the man over the woman. We all have different purposes. We all have different things that God has brought us here to do. But it's not to look at, just like the body of Christ. He said, there's no big ones, there's nobody greater, no part of the body greater. So humanity is the same thing. There is no one greater than the other. Your tasks may be different, your purpose may be different, your responsibility may be different. But when we talk about gender equality, we're talking about, it doesn't matter if I'm a man or a woman, I should be seen equally as a human being, to be expected to receive what another human being should receive: respect, honor, all of those things is gender-based. No matter what your task, no matter what your purpose. So gender-based to me is honor, respect, and knowing that what I'm called to do, what my purpose is, has nothing to do with my sex, my gender.
Thank you, Apostle. Reverend Payne, and then I'm coming to you, Connie, because I know you need a minute to think, and I don't want to bring it on.
Ambassador Lisa, thank you so much, but in the interest of time, because we are only 15 minutes, I think we should just redirect these questions back to gender-based violence. But to quickly answer your question, it just means being treated like anybody else, irrespective of your gender. So we're looking at the time here. I would like for us to focus on avoiding that gender-based violence, because of time.
Okay. And
so a quick question from here. What causes gender-based violence? So let's go to the basics. What causes it? Personally, I would say, I think there is something that comes from us individually, our nature of dressing. There are a lot of people in the community who dress promiscuously and then attract the bees, because the flowers open, that's when the bees come in. If flowers were not open, bees will never visit them. So please, what's your take?
First of all, that has nothing at all to do with our children in Africa who are being or being attacked sexually, just going to get water, on their way to school, just trying to get their grades. So gender-based violence doesn't have a lot to do with how we dress promiscuously. You just said we want to get to the root, right? We're gonna get to the root.
Let's get to the root.
That is not the root there.
He forgets that he's the only man on this show. But I know
that's right.
He's trying to wake us up.
Apostle Angela, you have your hand up.
Dr. Bonnie's hand is up too.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I did. So when we talk about, I think gender-based, the violence against women has everything to do with control. I think that, and I was just thinking about, Ambassador Lisa, you were talking about the number of murders in Philadelphia. This whole, and it's not just there, of course, we know it's happening in many cities like Chicago and in Baltimore, where that spirit of lawlessness and hatred is just running rampant. And I think it's that same pervasive spirit that women are subjected to. And I think it has everything to do with control, because they take advantage just because they can, just preying on the weaker in our society and taking advantage of them. And so I think that's where it starts. I think that it's a matter of, it's a spirit. And I think that we have lost, just in general, I think that there has just been a general loss of respect for life, period. And I think that women just are the subject or the butt of that the majority of the time. Yeah. Although it happens to men too, but it happens to us a lot more often than it does men. And so that's what I think is the cause of it.
Thank you, Dr.
Seeing the hands that are up.
Yes, I'm going to Dr. Burnley and then to Prophetess Nichelle.
Okay.
Oh.
Right. Thank you so much for giving me this opportunity. And I just want to say to a fellow brother who made an interesting comment about the way women dress that brings the violence on them. And I know that he is not the only man who thinks that way.
No, he's not.
Yeah, those out there. So I just want to address that first. So let me ask a question. And men go around, especially in Africa, where I come from. I'm originally from Cameroon. And it's hot, and they go out without their shirts, and nobody pounces on them.
Exactly.
So what are we saying? But anyway, nonetheless, when Boko Haram attacked and he went to school and took those young innocent children, were they dressed provocatively? No. You see what I'm saying? What about in Sudan and where the statistics from the UN says that over 60% of the women in that country, because of war, have experienced violence. Over 60%. So that country alone is the statistics is twice as high as the rest of the world. Now, in the time of war, I don't think that women have time to be going around looking whatever way you describe their dressing. So it cannot be about that. What about the Republic of Congo, where and so many other places in Africa, and I'm speaking about Africa here because this is Africa Radio, but even in other parts of the world, where there is war and there is women are running for their lives. You know, you cannot stand and say it's because they were dressed provocatively. That is why they were assaulted, you know. So I just wanted to address that out there, that doesn't sit well. It doesn't make sense. It's not an excuse. Otherwise, they should be pouncing on all those men in Africa who go around in the heat without their clothes on. But we women don't pounce on them.
And Flavor would have been beaten so many times because he always takes off his shirt when he's performing.
Now, you know, also, you know what, men's chests and their breasts, because they do have breasts as well, their chests and their breasts have not been sexualized. Our women have. So that's why men can walk around with their shirts off and we think nothing of it.
Right.
But our breasts are all different sizes, they're different shapes, and we have sexualized the woman's body, which causes some of this issue. Who had their hand? Michelle, sorry, Prophet Michelle, you had your hand up?
Yes. I was glad to see there was a comment in there that our dear brother did not actually think that way. He just wanted to stir up the conversation. But I do want to address that. The main thing, we need to view all humans as humans. God made all human beings. And so the part in which we become violent, whether we're dealing specifically with what we are here, sexual violence, or even in the homes, you know, outside of this particular issue, but why am I violent towards another? You have the anger issue, whether that is being grown culturally in a person's either family or larger cultural environment, but then also, why am I viewing another human being whom God has created as less than myself? That is the point in which you feel free to be violent towards another. And so you have that impulse and learning control, and also the viewpoint of yourself versus that other or those others. And that's what has to be addressed, you know, endemically. Like I said, either whether it's in family culture or whether it's in a broader, you know, community culture. If God has made all of us, then we cannot go and harm another. There's something wrong with that viewpoint. Why do I need, in order for me to feel worthy of us or of stature, why do I need someone else under my foot? That's a problem. And it's, you know, from my religious perspective, sinful, but that's the problem.
Connie, you was raising your hand. Unmute yourself. Minister Connie, thank you. While she's unmuting herself, I just want to let you all know that this show is always unscripted. So enjoy the conversation, the camaraderie. We don't come together and practice what we're going to talk about. We just love interaction, the raw, upfront interaction. So this is very spirited. Yes, Minister Connie.
Only thing I was going to add was my granddaughter was raped at college, and they had it's no law, and also, well, I think it's a spirit, and also the law is not being dealt with, and And not only that, the fact is, sometimes our own females set us up because, you know, it's the enemy, you know, use, you know, for us, you know, that too. But what I'm saying also is the fact is they feel like it's no law, so they're going to continue on doing what they're doing if they don't uphold it. The same thing in the military, they found out in the military, they hadn't followed through either. So if the law is not being, if they're not pressing the law, they're going to get away with it.
Yeah, so the law is not being executed as
yes.
A few months ago, we did a show on what do we call the show? Sex for grades. Sex for grades.
Sexually transmitted grades.
Sexually transmitted grades. It was awesome. And we talked about how, especially in Africa, these girls don't get passing grades if they don't have sex with the professors. We had videos, they had done some secret videos of how the teachers were coming on to them. They were threatened to go tell their parents, you know, it's going to be the teacher's word against the child's. But what I discovered in my traveling in Africa, and I've been watching this situation since my very first trip, is that women are not valued and they're not respected. They still have that very Old Testament mindset that a woman is property and they can have as many wives and concubines as they want. And we just don't live that way any longer. And, you know, when you don't have a job, when you don't have income, when you can't support your family as a man, I'm sure Nia-san would agree, it does not put you in a right frame of mind. It does not put you in a right spirit. So the moment we as women who like things a certain way complain to you about something that you're already ready to take out your frustrations on us, not on the person who caused your frustration, but you take it out on us because you see us as your property. And that's one of the things that I hope that this conference is going to address. Last year, when I was asked to speak on this, that was one of the things that the Lord gave me to do, to come up with a way to begin to end this. We cannot end it globally, but when each one reach one, each one teach one, we can make a difference that way. Oh, I'm already into my message for next week. Let me see.
Dr. Bonnie's hands are up, and then we want to hear from everybody, please.
Yes. Okay. I'm sorry, Dr. Yes, I can't see that. So I'm thanking you, Dr. Bonnie.
Yes. Thank you so much for giving me another opportunity. I just want to say I am so glad. I just read the chat now, and it said my brother there doesn't believe what he said. He just wanted to, you know, spark a conversation. So thank God. And you know what? I'm thanking God. He doesn't know me, but I grew up hearing his name. And I had a lot of respect for that name. So you can just imagine my shock when I thought, oh my God.
Let me just say something. I am also from Cameroon, and I grew up listening to Asanglefan Kemleke on the radio. There's nobody who grew up in Cameroon. So we have a seasoned retired journalist on this panel. And yes, he definitely, it's a good thing you are listening to him on the radio. You know, he doesn't believe that.
Good.
He's
So
to the same woman for 100 years, to the same woman.
Yes,
wonderful. Wonderful.
So when Dr. Burley attacked him like that, I was like, "Oh, this was good. This really got." I was going to say she's in good company because Nia-san and Reverend Pam are both from Cameroon themselves.
Wonderful.
Yes.
So getting back to what I just wanted to add to the conversation about and just agreeing with what has been said so far about the need for discipline, not just punishment, but rehabilitation of offenders. Because even as Ambassador Gracey said, it's a spirit as well. And for some people, is their mindset needs to be reprogrammed because they've grown in a chauvinist society, which from childhood, they have believed in what they're doing. So there's a need for reprogramming. And then for others, it's a demon, it's a spiritual problem, the anger issues and things like that. And so, but what I really want to say now is that we all have heard stories and we all have stories about this violence. The conference that we are hoping to have would have hopefully suggestions on what to do to change things. But I want to talk to us right now about the first and the most important suggestion to change things, that we all are change agents, everybody in their own corner. can make a change. Because if we look at the United Nations, they're doing their best, the law courts, they're doing their best. But for example, it took, it's been 10 years, for example, in the Democratic Republic of Congo, since they came up and discovered that women sex was being used as a weapon of war. And it's been 10 years and they have not brought one person to justice in 10 years.
Wow.
So what does that tell you? That tells you and I, in all our different parts where we are, that we've got to think out of the box. We've got to say, what can I do? I, me, you, what can I do? Look, you could save just one person, but you don't know that one person could go on to save 10 more people.
Yes.
That one person could grow up to become such an influential person who will have an impact worldwide. Because sometimes we think, no, you don't need to know Kung Fu to save the person. You just even need to have an ear that listens. And just, what about a mouth that prays? What about prayer that can change circumstances and situations? But I just wanted us to know that the first step to the change is very simple, is the understanding that every other human being, especially we sisters, have a responsibility to say, at least I will help one woman. If the statistics say that 30% or so of women have experienced gender-based violence, then what the question I'm asking the remaining 60-something% of us is, if the remaining 60-something% of us just decided to help one woman, do you see that we will actually solve this problem?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Can I just jump in real quick? I'll jump in real quick, and then we need to hear from somebody who has not spoken. You know, Dr. Bonnie, thank you so much for that. And this is really, I don't know, anchors, you guys may have to extend the show a little bit more, even though I'll have to exit, but so that we really address it. So important. We've discussed this. As a matter of fact, the very first show on March 20th, 2016, we did, our inaugural show was on, no, the second show was on domestic violence, a woman that was chopped up by her husband. I want to say this, in addition to what our sister just said, we as mothers and sisters need to start it from home with our children. Because if we nip it in the bud with them as they are raised, I will only direct everybody to Proverbs 22:6. It says, raise up a child the way they should go, and when they grow up, they will not depart from it. Those children who grew up in violent homes saw their parents beating each other, whether it was mother beating father or father beating mother. They grew up looking at it like a normal thing to do.
Yes.
If there's no deliverance or somebody doesn't intervene, they'll continue that process. But also there's this battered wife syndrome or battered husband syndrome, where, like I said, we discuss this topic every year. We do a sequel. The victims need to know that it is not acceptable. I don't care if that man brought you to America or to Europe and put you through school and save your entire family from poverty. You are not his property.
That's right.
You are not. One thing this abusers are failing to understand, the men, in Proverbs 18:22 say, he who finds a wife findeth a good thing and obtaineth favor. If you want favor, you cannot touch your wife. You cannot. You cannot touch your wife. I'm not saying that the wife can touch the husband. I'm just telling you that if you abuse your wife, you will always be broke for the rest of your life. So those of you abusing men who cannot pay up your bills, stop abusing your wives. And this violence is not just physical. There's emotional.
Emotional.
That's what I'm saying.
Financial as well.
Don't even leave sky.
Mentally and emotionally.
Abusing your wife. When you married her, she was a size 2. Now she's a size 22, and you keep abusing her. You don't know that you are the reason for that weight gain. You don't know you are the reason. So I just want to encourage the victims. It is not acceptable. Nobody is allowed to lay their finger or their hands on anybody. Nobody. And you the wife, I know the last time we did this show, I think it was late last year, one of the victims reached out to us, but when we tried to get her help, she was so afraid of the husband who was the perpetrator. And that's the problem. You know, that's the problem. So you have to reach out to somebody. There's somebody that you can always reach out to. That man cannot be with you. He's not God, so he's not omnipresent. Whether it's here or in the continent, if you are a child or you're a wife or a man and you are being abused, I don't care what kind of abuse, talk to somebody. The only challenge we have that these days, you tell people to go to the church, even the people in the church are the ones abusing people. So then just pray to God, but reach some community leader that you feel comfortable with. Because there are situations where you go reach out to somebody, either a community leader or whatever, that community leader still take advantage of you. I don't know, I'm not talking of any particular person. So if this hits home to you, I don't know your story. Don't send us any nasty mail saying that we're talking about you. If you are convicted, get on your knees and repent. But you know, this topic is very, very important. And me as an ambassador, I think we should extend the show so everybody, we can beat this even before the conference, because this thing, we talk about this every year. There are people who are getting help, but again, if the parents start addressing this at home, in the next generation, when they grow up, they will not be this. We can eliminate this.
I agree.
And there are women who refuse their husband's sex. That's a form of abuse. That's a form of gender-based violence. You know, and then when you do that and it goes outside now, you start complaining that he's cheating on you. So let's talk on how to avoid this gender-based violence. We need to hear from some people that have not spoken. We need to hear from you, Sister Robin. We need to hear from you again. And
I wanted to offer a suggestion, and it was an interesting thing happened last week. It was a little girl that was abducted and thrown in the back of a car. But because of a hand sign she had learned on TikTok, she did the hand sign in the window. Another driver seen it, and they was able to rescue this child. I know a lot of times when people are in abusive relationships, they are alienated. They're watched during phone calls. They're watched with interactions, and the abuser will even say, "You was acting funny. What did you say to her?" And so as we look for creative ways of addressing this, what are some of the tools that we can give to our young people that allows them to communicate to us, "I'm being abused," you know? Because you can't tell everybody that you're being abused, because they'll go back and tell the abuser, and he'll go back to abusing you even more.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? And so I had a woman once tell me that she was being abused, and when I told her she didn't deserve this and had the whole talk with her, the only courage she had was to go back to the abuser and say, "And Robin said that you shouldn't be hitting on me," because that's all she had, which made the abuser come to me. "Why you getting in my business?" This, that, and the other. But my point is, how can we give tools and signs for our girls, especially, who have no defense, you know, a way of communicating, "I'm being abused by this person. Are you somebody I can talk to?"
Amen. Thank you so much. Thank you, Robin. Apostle Esther, I think your hand, and then Apostle Angela.
This is a big subject. And I'm listening to all the things being said, but one thing about it, abuse come in different forms. And if you're not aware of the forms, and if we just say it's physical, you can't just say physical, because abuse come in different forms. And if people are not aware of the forms then they stay in it until it gets to be physical. So educating people what do abuse look like. I had a conference and I talked about that.
Yes.
What do abuse look like? Because everybody don't know what it looked like. They might think it's normal. If I came up in a household and everything was okay, they were still in love and we still grew up, they think it's normal. So, but it's not normal. Then the other thing where people say, you know, lock people up. Well, I found out, and some people do need to be locked up, but some people that commit these crimes had them committed to them. I found out within my family, they were reacting what happened to them. This was their way of dealing with it. This was their anger. So if somebody did it to them and got away with it, they get angry, they do it and say, well, I'm gonna do it. And it might sound like, well, why would they do that? But it's a mental thing. They never told nobody. Yeah. These guys, I had males in the family. They've been raped. They were raped too, but they were boys. They didn't tell anybody. They didn't share because boys just don't tell people they've been raped. Girls, it's hard for a girl to do it. So a guy definitely ain't coming to tell you they've been raped. It's hard as a boy. So later in years, being that we talked to our boys, we found out they were being raped by somebody you know. Somebody you know, and then guess what? How we found out, because they touched somebody else. And we trying to figure out where in the world this came from. Then after they talked to somebody, it came up, they've been touched. Then the other thing, I'm saying all this because when you talk about gender-based violence and you say the root, it's so many roots. So we got to decide which root you're going to deal with first. Because there's a lot of roots. People grow up and like you said, the spiritual side. Then it's like coming from cultures where women wasn't valued. It's coming from anywhere. Down south, men like that. They didn't look at the woman as being nothing but somebody take care of the kids, be pregnant, take care of the kids and take care of the home. And you did what I said. Them women didn't say anything back. They didn't confront the man, even if he was wrong. They wouldn't confront him because somebody told her that's disrespecting the man. You don't say this, you don't say that, but you should never be in a place, that's abuse too, when you rebuke somebody because you feel like you don't want to hear what they gotta say. So I'm looking at it this way. This is so big. We got to look at what roots are more important and easier to deal with and to get solutions for, because there's so many roots and can't deal with them all. So my suggestion is let's talk about, look at the ones, first identify all these different roots where this stuff can come from. And then say, well, can we do something easier with this? Some things is long-term, sometimes it's short-term goals. So we gotta look at what's short-term that we can really make an impact, but there's a lot of roots and we need to first recognize them and then make people educated what rape is. And then they need to know what is abuse. What is abuse? I did not dismiss them out of that class because they don't even know. Some guys just being controlling, they don't see it as abuse. But when you put it on paper and they read what abuse is, it's like, and didn't I do something, Lisa, where I said, do you do this? You had to take an abuse test. Women and males, they had to take a abuse test. We had what abuse, well, we didn't say it was abuse. We just showed things and we say, do you do this? Do you do this? Do you do this? And let them answer. And when they answer, it let them see. Then we talked about what abuse was. Then they were able to look and say, oh my God, that was abusive. Oh my God, that was abusive. And that helps them. That helped them to identify you abuser or you was a person getting abused. Because we did both.
Thank you, Apostle Esther.
Well, you know, that's my area.
She's about to preach because this is one of her areas that she
Yes, I can hear it.
We are almost at the top. We are almost at the top of the hour. So Angela, we're going to get you right after we come back. At 5 o'clock, we're going to have our national anthem. So while we are waiting for that time, I just want to share, because I know I can do this in a short amount of time. My very first trip to Africa, I went to minister to some singles, and the Lord gave me to deal with healing sexual brokenness. Now, I had never been to Africa. The people who invited me had never been to America. So we didn't know the cultural exchange, but I knew what God said, and I heard what God said. So as I prepared to go deal with healing sexual brokenness, the first thing we did when we got off the airplane was to get a newspaper. We got a newspaper, and the only thing in the newspaper in Uganda was this teacher raped this one. This child was found raped and beat. This child was found raped and cut up. And I was like, oh my God, what have we walked into? But we knew we walked in equipped because we heard the voice of God. So during the conference, I'm telling you, the power of God was so strong. We did not have to lay hands. The power of God began to come down and heal the people without us even having to touch them, without having to minister to them. But so many of them, especially our daughters and our sons in Africa, are being raped and abused at such a young age. Before you get a chance to explain to them what rape, what sex is, before you get a chance to talk about what sex is, these children have already been abused by the men that they have to pass through the village to get the water from the river, and then on their way back, and then on their way to school. So many of these children walk 5 miles to get to the river to get water, and on their way, not only they have to fight the wild animals, they got to fight all the men that have been hanging around waiting. So our children, we've got our babies that are being attacked, not only in Africa, but they're being attacked.
And that's where it started.
And that's where we start. So how do we combat some of it? I thought I was going to talk and be able to talk up these last 4 minutes. Does anyone have a comment that's going to be very short that you can get in the next 3 minutes?
No. I have a short comment. I think I can get it in the next couple of minutes. Well, one thing in families, we cover over stuff. We cover over and we tell lies and hide things. I think one of the number one things we have to do is educate people. Education is key. My husband and I attended a seminar one time about that, and we began to recognize the signs in some of the women in our church who were being abused. And my husband's much quicker at picking up on those kind of things as well. But understanding what abuse looks like is extremely important.
It is.
I like what Sister Evans said about the sign language. I also saw a commercial now that's been running on TV that women can do for people to recognize so that they know that that person needs help. And I think one of the things that we can do as a society is not turn a blind eye. When you see something, say something. When you see something, say something. And try to do it as discreetly as possible. Try to do everything in your power to protect the person who's being abused. Don't expose them in any way that would expose them to additional abuse. Our goal should be to help them. So one of my things was to be available. If somebody comes to you and says something, if they get to the point, first of all, where they trust you to even let the words come out of their mouth, you've got to do something, because it took something for them to get there.
Right.
That's right.
Just for them to get to the point to tell you. So if they tell you, you've got to do something. And of course, we need to seek God and ask for wisdom and how we're going to respond, of course. I think in societies where there is no God and there's no respect for God, there'll be no respect for humanity or women or anything else. And so that's another whole animal there.
Yes.
But these are some of the things that we could do. Amen?
Yes.
Amen.
Thank you, Apostle
and I would
Angela.
also just quickly say, don't provoke, prepare with purpose.
Absolutely.
That if you're in a situation where you can't fight back.
Right.
Amen. It is the top of the hour. And Pam, I'm going to let you take.
We actually have a couple, a minute.
Okay.
So I will say something real quick. Again, I think we're going to have to extend the show.
I think so. This is good. This is good.
I don't do a sequel next week, because next week we're already talking about holiday festivities. So, but we're going to invite all of them back next year when we discuss this topic. Again, this is an annual topic we discuss, and hopefully there will be some testimonies. But before I play the anthem, I just want to say this to parents. You bring children into this world, it's your responsibility to raise them. It's not the responsibility of the church. It's not the responsibility of the school. It's not the responsibility of the local government. It's not your neighbor's responsibility. It's your responsibility. So when you bring those children into this world, at least up to the age of 18, pay attention to them. It's okay to work, but don't be chasing dollars and then you turn around tomorrow, use those dollars to rehab the children that you neglected because you were chasing dollars. Pay attention to your children. When these children start experiencing any kind of abuse, you'll be able to see some kind of withdrawal or some changes in them. You know, you'll be able to see some kind of changes in them. Sorry, that's my alarm telling me it's the top of the hour. So I'm gonna play this. You know, this I'm gonna play the anthem. Let me hear the sound here, and so I'm.
Oh, Africa. Oh no. Africans for Africa. 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 Africans have many bright ideas. If only you let us share. If you really want to know my history, please come, sit down, listen to my story. God gave us a wisdom. He guides our footsteps, makes us shine and transform. Hey, as one people with so many cultures, yet indeed we are one. Stand up, Africans, let's save Africa. Let us all unite behind Africa Online Media Corporation. Stand up, Africans, let's save Africa. It's time to come together, promote awareness, progress, and solution. Hey, Africans, Africa, Africans for Africa, Africans for Africa. All Africans can rally for a cause, to believe without judgment in what our brother does, to identify and resolve our challenges, to allow each other's ideas without regard to standards, as one people with so many cultures. Yes, indeed, we are one. Stand up, Africans, for Africa. Let us solve all the problems in our continent. Stand up, Africans, let's save Africa. Let us empower Africans in and out of Africa. Stand up, Africans, for Africa. Africa Online Media Corporation, that's a good way to start. Stand up, Africans, let's save Africa. They have all the resources we need to benefit our society. Oh. nation for everyone if we believe. Prosperity for Africans if we believe. Medical facilitation for Africans if we believe. Stand up, Africa, yes, for Africa. Africa Online Media Corporation, that's a good way to start. Stand up, Africans, let's save Africa. Africa is a cradle of civilization, the motherland. Stand up, Africans, for Africa. We were enslaved not because we were weak, but because of our hospitality. Stand up, Africans, let's save Africa. Jump on the Africa Online Miracle Jet. Don't be left behind. Stand up, Africans, for Africa. Together we shall succeed. Together we will win. Stand up, Africans, let's save Africa. We are writing our own story, the truth, and we shall tell it to the world. Stand up, Africans, for Africa. No more lies, Africans own Africa.
No more lies. Africans own Africa. We own full rights to that song. I am going to announce the topic. I know I hinted it earlier. Ambassador Lisa will come and say something briefly about our ongoing project, and our main anchor will speak to our French-speaking listeners. You know, French and English are the predominant languages in Africa. So starting tomorrow and next Sunday, we'll be talking about holiday festivities, Thanksgiving, Christmas, end of year. So we invite you, come and tell us how you are celebrating the holidays. We consider it a time to give back. So we want to hear about people who are doing something to give back. We don't want to hear about how much turkey you're going to be eating on Thanksgiving Day. And we want to hear about how many turkeys you have blessed other people with. Amen. That's what we want to hear next Sunday. So we're encouraging everybody, if you had no plans of sharing, we know a lot of people lost their jobs during this pandemic. A lot of people lost their homes. A lot of people may not be lucky to even have a family dinner or turkey or Christmas. We're not talking about Christmas shopping or any of that stuff. But come tell us. We are encouraging everybody to come in next Sunday and tell us what they are doing for others during this holiday. So Ambassador Lisa, you can take it, and then me also will come with the French. I'll be muted for a bit because I have a major event that I'm coordinating. So I'm not leaving the show, I'll just be muted so I can put some things in my car. It's about to rain in Houston. All right.
Okay. Thank you, Reverend Pam. Listen, Africa Online Media Corporation doing things, not just this Sunday program that we host every Sunday at 5:30. Somebody mute. We have an ongoing fundraiser. It's called Operation Borehole 55. It is Africa Online's ongoing fundraiser to put a borehole, and it's our plan rather, to put a borehole in every country on the continent of Africa. There are so many places where there is no fresh running water. You know, we've talked about earlier today where children are walking to the river to fetch a bucket of water, or a jerry can, as we call it on the East Coast, a jerry can of water. And that is the water that family would use to wash the dishes, wash the clothes, wash the child, and cook. You know, so we want, there are medical clinics. There are medical facilities that are licensed and approved by the government of countries in Africa where there is no running water. Can you imagine, all of us here, I believe, are mothers. Can you imagine having your baby on a table that another sister just got off of, has not been cleaned, has not been washed? And if you don't have family who will come to the hospital with you to bring water, there will be no water for you. So we want to do something about that. We're doing our part to try and bring water to the continent of Africa. So our first country has already been selected. The groundwork has already been broken. Things are starting in Sierra Leone, but that is just the first one. We intend to do all 55 countries. So if you would like to donate any amount of rand, shilling, dollar, pound, whatever, all of the money raised goes towards the borehole project. There is no administrative cost. There's no airline cost for any of us to travel to oversee. We have people on the ground. We have engineers on the ground that are overseeing those projects there. So if you would like to donate, visit africaonlinetv.org. That's www.africaonlinetv.org. And you will find a place there with projects, and you will be able to donate. You can make your donation recurring every month. You can make a one-time donation. I just want you to know that every dime that you submit or send or donate goes toward the borehole project. Now, if you would like to get in touch with any of our speakers here today, you heard something, you've seen something, you want to get in touch with somebody, send an email to info@africaonlinetv.org, and we will make sure that question or comment gets to the right person that you want to reach, and they will, in their own time, get back with you. Again, that's info@africaonlinetv.org. Now, to have our announcements translated, Nia-san.
Oui, bonjour. Je suis désolé de dire ça en français parce que bon, je suis obligé de le faire. Africa Online Media Corporation organise depuis un certain temps une contribution pour les adductions d'eau dans les divers pays africains. Ça s'appelle Operation Borehole 55. Donc, nous voulons mettre des points d'eau dans les pays africains pour aider les populations, pour éviter d'aller à la rivière pour chercher de l'eau potable. Donc, si vous pouvez contribuer, donner quelque chose, un petit sou pour qu'on puisse réaliser ce projet, ça sera très, très, très applaudi. Le premier projet va démarrer ou a démarré au Sierra Leone, et nous attendons étendre ça aux autres pays africains. Merci beaucoup. Please join us on www.africaonlinemediatv.org and donate, faire votre contribution sur notre site web. Merci beaucoup, Ambassador Lisa. Back to you.
No, real quick, you did not announce the topic, next week's topic.
En général, je ne fais pas ça en français. En tout cas, c'est la semaine des fêtes. D'ici jusqu'à janvier, c'est la semaine des fêtes. Qu'est-ce que vous faites? Qu'est-ce que vous attendez faire pour les fêtes? Ne mangez pas trop, ne mangez pas beaucoup, mais qu'est-ce que vous donnez là pour les autres, pour que quelqu'un d'autre puisse avoir quelque chose sur sa table, pour sa famille. Merci beaucoup and see you soon.
Thank you, Nia-san. I think there was a question already in the chat. Let me go back and find, oh, there it is. This question is going to be directed to Ambassador Joseph and Ambassador Gracey, and then we will take a round at the table after. I mean, this is not our final round, but then we would address this question afterwards. Nia-san, did you want to announce the question since you're the only man? We want to let you have something to say.
What was the question? My question was, what about gender on gender violence? Because we're talking more like male on female violence, but what about female on female violence or male on male violence? Do we not see that also as a problem?
I'm sorry, that can be a question, but that's not the question you put in the chat box. You said, is the legal system sufficiently equipped to fight gender-based violence?
Oh, I'd forgotten about that one.
Oh, I didn't see any other question. That's the only one I saw.
All right, yeah, that's another question I posted on the chat room. Is the legal system, I know that many legal systems, but is the legal system fully equipped to combat violence, whether it's violent, gender-based or other violence? But I think our topic is gender-based violence. So is the legal system equipped to combat it?
Ambassadors?
Ambassador Lecent, did you?
Yeah, she was muted, so she just got someone muted.
So the question is the legal system equipped to address
gender-based violence?
Gender-based violence. I would give a response, but because I want you and all the other viewers who are on the panel right now to come out on Saturday, November 20th, because we will have some legal representative, we'll have justice of the peace, we'll have lawyers, we'll have all these individuals who will be able to give you the answer. And I could give you my 2 cents since that's a part of the field that I work in. But again, I want to encourage everyone to come out on Saturday, September the 20th. In addition, I am in agreement, full support and agreement with Reverend Pam and Prophetess Lisa that we should revisit this. We should not allow this to be the last day that we discuss this. So that would be my answer. Might I please say something? I don't remember who said, who was mentioning there different forms of violence. Yes, there is different forms of abuse. And one of the ones that is not as easy to detect is the emotional part, the emotional and psychological part. And so sometimes that is extremely difficult to detect. And should it get to a point where you have legal proceeding, it's then a matter of he said, she said kind of thing, because you don't have any tangible, any physical evidence. So yes, there are many different forms of domestic violence or gender-based violence. You also have financial abuse. So the spectrum is wide. Where do we start? I don't remember who said it. We start from the children are young.
That was Apostle Esther.
Where do we start? We start when they're young. We try, because some of these things are hereditary, that's passed on from generation to generation. And to be honest, some of these individuals, both male and female, they're not even fully aware that they're being abusive. Those are the ones that are emotional and psychological, and even the ones that are hidden, the physical one, they think it's nothing. They don't have a title, they don't see it. So it's more of education. We need to start educating these individuals. I agree, put them in prison. It's not a good thing because they may come out worse than they went in. So reformation, counseling, supportive methods in place to help these individuals. So that's all I have to say where that is concerned. If you want to hear more, please come out on Saturday, November the 20th.
Yes, tell us where, come out where, so please.
Okay,
we need to have the address.
So I don't know if Reverend Lisa, is this the time I should, or are you going to play the video?
Not yet. I have actually, no. Can you put the link for the conference in the chat box so I can share it in Facebook? And then I'm trying to get the sharing rights to one of you so that we can play the video, which I don't have, Reverend Pam. So can you give Ambassador Joseph the sharing rights, please?
No, can you give it to Reverend Ambassador Gracey? Is that okay? And then I'll just wrap up with the verbal.
Okay.
Also, I'm putting the link where to register for the conference. I'm putting it in the chat.
Okay.
All right.
So we want to stop the roller coaster, ending gender-based violence. Okay. That conference is next Saturday, or this coming Saturday, November the 20th. Registration information is coming. So back to our conversation. Professor said, what about the same gender, male upon male, female upon female? It's all the same violence. It's all the same abuse. We just have to find what our place is and make some changes. Dr. Bernie, do you have a comment? No.
All right, sorry, I had to unmute myself. And yeah, thank you. And that's a very good question coming from
Nia-san.
I was trying to think of the short form that you guys call him. Yes.
Nia-san, yes.
Nia-san. Yeah.
It's okay, it's okay.
Yes. So like you said, it's violence is violence, and it doesn't matter who is doing it to who and who is receiving it from whom. It's just something that we must try to prevent. And I just want to agree again with everyone who said that we need to start with the younger generation, start from the crib, and make it a purpose, because that is in the long run the easiest way to go. And I also want to say that my heart goes out to men. The whole world, we are all busy talking about gender-based violence in terms of violence against women. And then as far as men are concerned, the world is saying strong men don't cry, you know? And so there are men who are experiencing a lot, and some of them are our sons and our brothers, our nephews, even our husbands. Because there's this thing that strong men don't cry. And so some men come home, they cannot even share with their spouses. Who should be their best friend, the person whom they should trust to say, hey, this happened to me at work, or blah, blah, blah. Because in quotes, strong men don't cry. And then what about our sons? And then if our husbands believe strong men don't cry, what do you think our sons will believe in? Same thing. And they'll be bullied in the playground, and they'll be bullied in the streets, and they'll be bullied at home, and they can't say a word because we have taught them strong men don't cry, you know? And so I pray that we would get to that point where we will not be having conferences mainly just about gender-based violence in relation to women. I pray that we would get to that place where we would be handling these conferences irrespective of gender, you know. So thank you, Nia Asong, for that question. I'm getting used to it.
Yes.
I have one comment as we look to solutions, and this is just a small piece, but we have lost our ability to negotiate. There are no negotiation skills. We don't teach people how to de-escalate situations. When you have two people that are negotiating a situation and they don't know how to negotiate, but they have a weapon, they're instantly going to go to the weapon in order to resolve the situation. And so are we teaching our children at a very early age about negotiation and about that definition? And I think that if we could just get a clear definition of abuse, that we start to teach kids at a very young age that if this happens to you, this is abuse, and these are the people you can go to, you know, as looking for solutions.
Thank you, Robin. I'd like to just say welcome to Emma Labaga, who is also joining us from Cameroon. Today is Cameroon Day, I'm telling you. She is from, I can't say where she's from. I don't know what happened.
She's from Boya.
No, she put something else in the chat box. It's a TV station.
Hello,
sorry.
Hello, this is Emma Lebaga. I'm from Boya, and my NGO is El Kemali International.
Oh, okay. Welcome, welcome.
Yes.
So today we are talking about stopping the roller coaster, ending ending gender-based violence. So you have a comment since you're just joining us?
Yeah, as I was following up, I just learned that what do we have to really do about it? And the fact that we only talk about women, which is not right. It should be something we start from the beginning. We have to get everyone involved, leaving no one behind when we are talking of such things. The community should be involved because everyone in the community is hurt when there's gender-based violence. So we must teach everyone, the men, the women, the boys, youths, babies, what to do, how to recognize gender-based violence, what to do when it happens. I can be here and my neighbor is crying and I don't do anything. That is wrong.
Yes.
We have to be able to act and stop it. There are many ways we can stop it. Even cleaning up our community, putting street lights, having good relationship with policemen who can come in and help us at any time. Give children animation areas, grounds where they can be happy all the time playing without having guns with them. Stop the gun attacks. Teach the children from home. Parents, they are really responsible. They have to teach the children what is good. not only at school. And teachers must be vigilant because children go to school with guns. Who are those selling those guns to those children? Those are all the things we have to look into. We have to look into that. Those are all the basis of gender-based violence. If you grow up with guns, you will end up with guns. And it's not a good thing. So the community, everybody, leave no one behind. Everybody must be involved in this. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Leave no one behind. Nia-san.
Yeah, no, I said thank you very much to our last speaker, Comrade Lebaka from Boya. And please, the floor is open for anyone to say something. Please don't let us be obliged to call all of you or call one person at a time, because I'm not seeing the name very clearly all the same. So please, if you wanted to speak, just unmute yourself and go ahead.
Okay. Brittany, we haven't heard anything from you before our speakers continue. Reverend Pam, are you back yet? Brittany?
It's on another screen.
So she is not here. She's just listening.
Ambassador Lisa, I'm on the road. I won't be able to weigh in, so you guys go ahead. I'm sorry.
I need you to give Sharon rights to.
I did.
Okay.
I gave it to Gracey. You know, I'm on the road.
Okay. Oh, okay. So I didn't realize you was leaving.
All right. Thank you. Thank you, guys. Yes.
Thank you. Okay.
Thank you guys. Bye.
Okay. Thank you. I just wanted to say quickly about those who would be attending the conference. I re-put the link, I'm sorry, in the chat. I realized it was case sensitive, and when it was all capital letters, the link didn't go. So I reposted it in regular caps so that everybody will be able to go to the link to register for the conference. It's 2 hours. It's Saturday morning from 10 to 12. And I wanted to make mention of the fact, I wanted to just touch on Nia-san's question about law enforcement. We will have panelists at the conference as well. And we have up to 2 to 3 police officers that we're expecting to be on the panel. But we also are having someone from the area of social work, which is another component, right, that contributes to the overall solution of this. In addition to someone from the legal field, like from the DA's office. And so we have someone who will be speaking to it from a global perspective as well. So we've tried to include a well-rounded group of experts to speak to this issue. But for those of us down here on the ground in our everyday lives, education is key. And watching our family, watching our children, be aware when their behavior changes. Usually children are very, how children are, they're very malleable and they're easily entreated. And so they need to be educated at an early age, and we have to pay attention to their conduct. When their behavior changes, they're no longer excited about school, or they don't want to go over a particular person's house or whatever. Those little signs are things that tell us that something in their world is not right. And so we have to just be a little bit more sensitive now. We have to be more watchful, more vigilant, because kids have access to so much information. They have so much access to media now, way more than we did when we were kids. And so they're exposed to so much. So we have to be doubly, triply more vigilant than perhaps we have been in the last 10 to 20 years. And here again, I don't know what it is. It's not just the African-American community. It's in a lot of communities where families just cover over and they don't say anything. And the children and young people don't have anywhere that they feel that they can go where people will listen. And it's incumbent upon us, all of us, to listen, because they may be more likely to go to a stranger, to an objective person, than to someone in the family, because they're afraid that the person in the family, right, is going to go tell. So they may be more inclined to tell an objective person, someone outside the home, and that's where we have to really be ready to listen and pay attention and be wise enough to move forward and take appropriate steps. I don't know what all of the appropriate steps are, but I believe we're going to find out next Saturday. So stay tuned. Amen.
Thank you. Thank you.
Good.
And while you get ready are you getting yourself ready to play the video?
Oh, yes, I could play the video.
Okay, just wait, not yet. Any other
Okay.
questions? Because we are coming up to the end of our time and we are
Okay.
just a little longer. Okay, Apostle Esther has a comment.
Okay.
Yeah,
I want to hear from.
Okay.
just a light comment. Yes, I believe in starting young and teaching the kids what that looks like, because we can tell me if somebody touched you wrong. You know, they still not understanding that. Tell me if, you know, there is some things that you can say to a child and they will. When my grandson, I had him, you know, in his life for a long time, since he was born. Now, I noticed after he got a certain age, he was still little. After he got a certain age, he was uncomfortable with me washing certain parts of his body. Now, I noticed that. So we have to notice those things too. You just can't say, well, let me wash you. No, I taught him how to wash himself because he was feeling uncomfortable. And everybody's different with that. Some people, they can get washed by their parents probably till they're grown, what matter. But, you know, I'm just saying, I noticed that. And also, when we look at our family, I wanted to say something about DIFUS. A situation happened in our family, and I was talking to the DIFUS worker, and one of the things they were finding out, they're going to have to change how they handle those situations too. Because again, you got the person who has the problem of committing the crime, then you had the person that they committed it to. Both of them there's a problem there. And one thing about it, I found out with male children that commit that crime, that they react the crime. Women that get raped or whatever, they become promiscuous, young girls. And I noticed that there is something that changed with them when these things happen. So once we recognize all of that, we can say, okay, you know, we gotta let these young people know. We can't say, well, don't talk about that. Don't call it this and don't call it that. We're not going to give the parts of the body funny names. You're going to tell them what it is. Be upfront. We got a generation you can be upfront with. Let's be upfront with them when we begin to put things together so they can receive it the right way. Then they can practice it. But I believe even DIFUS, there are systems that are changing because they're recognizing certain things too.
And for those of you who don't know, DIFUS is Human Services in New Jersey. Here in Philadelphia, we have the Department of Human Services. I don't know what you all call it in your other areas. But Robin, you had your hand raised. Is that what the note says? So,
no, I made my comment. I forgot to take my hand back down, but thank you.
Thank you. One thing I remember, I remember when we were talking about the sign language, I remember a TV show, I think it was Chicago Med, and a young lady had come into the emergency room with her quote unquote husband, I'd say, or something. And she had a symbol or something drawn on the inside of her hand. And when the doctors went to examine her, the doctor noticed that symbol, which told them that she had been abused. And they came up with some kind of way to get her away from the emergency he was, to pretend like they were taking her someplace to get some tests where she was able to open up. So these are kind of things that we need to establish. And I remember back a while ago, there used to be homes, almost like an underground railroad.
It was.
So we need to find out where these things are, if they're still in existence. If they're not, let's get them started again, because we need to be able to help a generation of people. This is genocide, people. This is genocide against ourselves. Another country doesn't have to come in and do it. We don't have to have terrorists come in and do it, because we're doing it to our own selves. And if someone doesn't step in and can't step in because they're not using those certain buzzwords. So, you know, this violence that we're committing against ourselves is basically genocide, and we need to stop it. We need to tell them that we can be together without killing one another. Time is up. We are just a little bit over. I want to thank everyone for coming. I want everybody to unmute because Neosum is about to do a round of the table where we have our last comment on the subject. We look forward to seeing everyone come to the conference on this coming Saturday.
Thank you, Ambassador Lisa. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. I'm going to start from the farthest part of the world. That will be Cameroon. Comrade Emma Lebaga, please, your last comment before you go. Say your last word before you go. We're taking a round of the table.
Yes,
Emma Lebaga.
Gender violence is on the rise, especially with COVID-19, and I would like that to stop. We have to do everything to stop it. I salute Comrade Asonga. He's my husband's classmate in Sase. Comrade, greetings.
Thank you very much, and I appreciate it. You got the link and you were able to join us. I appreciate it. Thank you so very much, and regards to everybody in Cameroon. That
Yes,
said,
I will join anytime because that's my sphere of work. That's what
okay.
I do.
Wonderful.
Thank you. Okay, I'll go across now. I see Comrade, or rather, I don't know if to say prophetess or ambassador, Connie Patterson. Is she? Sorry, please. I am
all those things that be not,
impaired.
hallelujah.
I'm visually impaired with glasses, though.
The thing I was going to say was, this was very good.
Uh-oh, she's broken.
Take
Okay.
yourself off mute,
You
Connie.
unmute yourself.
Yes. Apostle Joseph.
It was interesting.
Oh, thank you.
I just want to say I am so excited that we're here today discussing such needed discussion, and I'm asking everyone that is on the platform, please invite, register. It's a power-packed conference with some dynamic speakers. You'll be getting some resources and some more information. We're going to dive in and we're going to try to eliminate this one person at a time, one family at a time, one city at a time. We are going to try and eliminate this. What we got to understand is that gender-based violence and domestic violence is all about power and control. And so we want to eliminate this power and control, which is under a different regime, under a regime of violence, under a regime of attacking each other, which is not spiritually right or physically right. So again, invite, share, tell your mother, tell your enemy, tell your co-workers, tell everyone. This is a place to be. This coming Saturday, November the 20th, from 10 a.m. to 12 noon, and this is EST time. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Nichelle, please. Nichelle.
Yes. Thank you so much. This is the longest time that I've had a chance to join you, and it was very enlightening, very interesting. And my final comment is similar to what I said earlier. We must, in order to stop this, work with the endemic bad mindsets in our families, communities, and nations. Each person, each human being is to be treated with respect.
Apostle Esther Tapp, please, your turn.
I did say something already, but what crossed my mind, I'm gonna say that and shut up. A lot of this comes from slavery too. A lot of this comes from slavery. I thought about how things happen in slavery time, and a lot of women, you know, this domestic violence and gender balance, it went back to slavery as well. So, you know, we might have to go back and research some things and work our way up. That came to me, slavery. The mentality. Okay. Yeah.
Dr. Bernie?
Hi, thank you. So actually there was an omission. There's an L in my name. It's Burnley. So, but that's
I thought so, but I didn't want to complicate.
Yes, no, I didn't want to complicate too. We are discussing a much more important thing. That L can wait.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Your
Wonderful.
last word, please.
Yes, thank everybody. It was really enlightening, and the questions, the comments been beautiful. And like we're saying, The conference on the 20th, we hope, is going to continue and shed more light. And I'm going to be one of the speakers in that conference on the 20th as well. And we're looking forward to having as many people as possible, invite them so that we can learn and we can all be blessed, because this has to end. And we have a parable in Cameroon, and Annie, please correct me if I got it wrong. They say, I'm going to say it in Pidgin, then translate it to English. Say, if snake bite me, you see that snake, you not kill him, it go bite you too one day. In other words, in English, they say, if a snake attacks me and you saw that snake and you did not kill it, it will go away. But next time when you are passing there, it will likely bite you. So the point I'm saying is, that's been the problem. The world has become so small. We saw how a problem that started in China in a whatever meat market is terrorizing the whole world today. So is this matter with violence. Don't think it's a third world problem. You will be surprised about the statistics of violence, even in the, in quotes, Western world. Let all of us get in against this thing so that it does not come back and work against us and our children and our grandchildren down the road. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Ms. Evans?
Yes. First of all, violence is just unacceptable. But I think that starting the conversation in a real way is key. Because what we're going to have to do is take the stigma out of talking about the violence and provide people with a safe place to place that burden. And so as we also look at solutions, you know, I was thinking of, because we do this with everything else, how do we have a marketing campaign that that promotes empowerment around not being abused and put the stigma back on the abuser, at the same time empowering women, telling their story and giving them the option to get out of abusive relationships. But thank you so much to everybody.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ambassador Apostle Angela. I deliberately kept you to the tail end or there or near there, because I know you have more to say than all of us.
Thank you so very much. First of all, I just want to thank everybody for having us on today. Thank you, Reverend Pam. Thank you, Nia-san. Thank you, Ambassador Lisa, for coming alongside and supporting us and allowing us to come on and discuss this very, very important topic. My final comments are just education. We need to educate our children. We need to educate each other about what violence looks like, what domestic violence and discrimination looks like, you know, how to be able to identify the signs. And then I would like to see, what I would like to see in the future is for us to have more avenues. Like, I like what my sister said, Minister Evans, about removing the stigma and making ways for women to get out. I think we need more alternatives, more ways for them to get out of the situations that they find themselves in. And that means providing them with resources and so on. And so I personally am making a commitment to an organization right here in DC called the N Street Village. And that's what they do. They support women who are homeless or who are escaping some situation and need a place to stay. So I think that all of us, we need to find one way. It doesn't have to, we don't have to do 10 things, but just one thing that we feel we could do to make an impact, to just move the needle a little bit further. And I think we can do that. So with closing with that and all of that, oh, and thank you, Apostle Esther Tabb. She registered today. She is our first registrant from today's show.
Oh, great.
From today's show, yes.
Yes,
Before Angela finishes.
Do I get a prize?
Yes, you get a prize.
Yeah, Ambassador Lisa, I was coming to you. Ambassador Lisa, I was coming to you. I know you don't only have, I know you don't only have closing remarks. You may have more to share than I think.
Yeah, before I didn't forget, and that's all I was going to say was that Angela video for the conference. And even though Pastor Elson may have registered first, I know that Ruthie was trying to register at the same time, but she had the wrong link. So you may have to have a prize for both of them.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Fantastic.
All right, Pastor Lisa, your turn.
No,
So
we're gonna have the video. The video.
Here we go.
All right. That was beautiful. That was beautiful.
Amen.
Yes.
Thank you for letting me share.
Yeah, thank you. Also, if you are attending the conference, and none of them said that, and it just reminded me because I saw the commercial, but if you are attending the conference, we want you to wear orange. That is the color for domestic violence. So put your orange on.
Yes.
You attend the conference. So today, I just want to say thank you to our guests, to Ambassador Angela, Ambassador Joseph, and to our president, Dr. Bunley, for coming on. Thank you, those who came in from Cameroon, my sister Robin, I thank you so much. Our regulars, Prophetess Ruth, Connie, we thank you, Minister Connie, for coming. We invite you to come back and spend every Sunday afternoon. It's only an hour and a half, and we've got some dynamic conversations. We have some dynamic speakers. We get people coming in from all over. If you have something that you would like us to talk about, inbox us. I put the chat box, the email address, that's info@africaonlinetv.org. Tell us what you'd like to see us talk about. And if we haven't already covered it in these 6 years, trust me, we will get around to doing so. So thank you again so much for joining us today. God bless you.
Thank you all so much. And my name is Asonle Fan Kemleke. Thank you. Please, I never stay on its net again. I'll make sure that I respect every single one of you. I respect all of you. And please, thank you all for weighing in. Thank you for holding nothing back, but addressing the topic. Amen. We look forward to having more of you, more often, every Sunday. Please never hesitate, as Ambassador Lisa said, to not join us. My comrade from Cameroon, Ambassador, she's not ambassador, but Miss Emma Lebaga, she's my classmate's wife, and we are really happy to have you from Cameroon in spite of the challenges of internet connection. Thank you so much, and bye for now, everybody.
Okay.
Thank you. Bye.
Bless you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Love you all. Blessings and increases on your week.
Okay.
Thanks.
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 Oh, this Prophetess Michelle, thank you. I forgot you.
Yeah.
So glad to be here.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Bye.
Thanks.
Bye.
Bye. But Lisa, you're going to close it, isn't it?
I was going to say, am I closing? Because I know Reverend Pam is on. I don't know if I have the.
Yeah, she's not available. So if
let me see. I think I can stop the recording. I can stop.
Yes.
The recording.
Stop the recording and then.